Shalom, like give all under glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahusha, the abundance to our apostles and elders of great millstone. Salutations to sincere brothers, pushing the word across four corners of earth. Lesson we'll get into today about before honor comes humiliation.
Okay. Hey, this is Job 1 and 10. And it states, but he said unto her, now this Job speaking to his wife, thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. What shall we receive good at the hand of the Most High? And shall we not receive evil? And all this did not Job sin with his lips. Verse 11. Now when Job's 3 friends heard of all this evil that was come upon him, they came every one from his own place. Eliphaz the Temanite, and Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite, for they had made an appointment together to come to mourn with him and to comfort him. Verse 12, and when they lifted up their eyes afar off and knew him not, they lifted up their voice and wept, and they rent every one of his mantle and sprinkled dust upon their heads toward heaven. Verse 13, so they sat down with him upon the ground 7 days and 7 nights, and none spake a word unto him, for they saw that his grief was very great. Y'all want to respond on that? Yeah, so basically it was it's talking about how Job actually went through all this hell, man. And he had some friends that basically came there to, to check on it and see basically how he was doing. But when they witnessed, the distress and all of the afflictions he had went through, then basically they were distorted. In the spirit, they were vexed, man. But hey, at the same time frame, he was humiliated before he was glorified. And to prove that point, I'm just going to get right to the point. This is back in Job, and it states Job 42 and 12. So the Lord blessed the latter end of Job more than his beginning, for he had 14,000 sheep and 6,000 camels and 1,000 yoke of oxen and 1,000 she-asses. He had also 7 sons and 3 daughters, and he called the name of the first Jemimah, and the name of the second Keziah, and the name of the third Curran Hapuk. And all in the land were no women found so fair as the daughters of Job, and their father gave them inheritance among their brethren. And after this lived Job 140 years, and saw his sons and his son's son even for generations.
So he ended up in more abundance than where he began. And because it's a saying that they say when people lose it all, they lose it.
That's right.
Now for a man upon planet Earth to this day, for him to lose everything that he has, that everyone has known of him to have, or known of him, because of his great possessions, because of his beautiful family,
right.
And for all that to be taken away, that's humiliation, man.
That's right.
And because now you really don't want to go face to face amongst these people, because now they know of your situation, they know of your grief, they know of this evil that has befell you, and that brings forth humiliation. But in order to be exalted, you have to go through a low point. You have to be abased. You have to be brought down real low. So that's what the the brother's topic is going into. Mm-hmm. Because before you can be exalted, you have to be humble. And humble goes, they can be utilized as synonymously for humiliated as well. Because this work and labor of the Lord, it could be a so-called act of humiliation. Because the world looks at this as strange. Because they know you, and now you're reading the Bible. They know your history, know your past, they know your current, and then what we wear. We out here in the cold, on the street corner, hollering and spitting and talking. It can be embarrassing, to a certain degree, but the Lord has uplifted that spirit of fear from us because we know the end result, and the end result is that the Lord is going to exalt us. So right now we live in that humiliated, abased position.
Because we don't really care what other people think, man. Right, exactly. When we know what we doing, that's something beneficial to the nation of Israel, you know? So this 1 Corinthians 1:21. But after that, in the wisdom of the Most High, the word by wisdom knew not the Most High. It pleased the Most High by the foolishness of preaching to save them that believe. It just shows you how we are a spectacle, man, you know? So we pretty much looked at as bums or losers on this side, but pretty much those L's going to turn into spiritual devils.
You got 20% on your phone left. That's cool.
Got one for you? Proverbs chapter 15, verse 33. The fear of the Lord is the instruction of wisdom, and before honor is humility.
So pretty much, hey, that shows the ultimate balance of the Most High, man. He'll take you down, and you stay faithful to him, you maintain your integrity, he's going to bring you right back up. He's going to bless you double time, man. So that's pretty much the position that we in. We at a low state right now. But we're going to continue to serve Yahweh Bashar Shah in truth and sincerity, and he'll bring us back up.
I'm going to real quick in Matthew. And this is 2 Ezra 7:9. If this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? Well, basically, the city is actually talking about the kingdom of heaven, man. And it actually talks about like the trials and tribulations. Like on one side you had water, on the other side you had the fire. Okay, but it's so narrow that only one brother can go per time. Well, only one brother can go at one at a time, man. So at the same time frame, getting to that city, you're gonna be humiliated, man.
You have to get through this valley of shadow of death in order to get to that city.
Yeah.
So it goes into that same balance. That's one.
That's that straight gate that each brother has to take in this path, man.
That's right.
And straight, it goes into a position of difficulties, right? So the Most High put different type of, curses on us, but like I keep reiterating, if we stay faithful to Him, man, we're gonna overcome that.
That's right. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 12. Before destruction, the heart of man is haughty, and before honor is humility.
Here it goes again. Before honor is humility, man. You can't say that more, man. Hey, you bring us down at a low point, you're going to bring us right back up.
Hey, this is Matthew 27 and 36. And sitting down, they watched him there, and set up over his head his accusation written, "This is Yahushua, the King of the Jews." Verse 38. Then were there two thieves crucified with him, one on the right hand and another on the left. And they that passed by reviled him, wagging their heads and saying, "Thou that destroyest the temple, and builded it in 3 days, save thyself. If thou be the Son of the Most High, come down from the cross." Likewise, also the chief priests, mocking him with the scribes and elders, said, "He saved others himself. He cannot save. If he be the King of Israel, let him now come down from the cross, and we will believe him. He trusted in the Most High. Let him deliver him now, if he will have him. For he said, I am the Son of the Most High." The thieves also which were crucified with him cast the same in his teeth. Now from the 6th hour there was darkness over all the land until the 9th hour. 46. And about the 9th hour Yahushua cried with a loud voice, saying, "Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani?" That is to say, my power, why hast thou forsaken me? Verse 47. Some of them that stood there when they heard that said, "This man calleth for Elias." 48. And straightway one of them ran and took a sponge and filled it with vinegar and put it on a reed and gave him to drink. All right, and the point of this part was basically Yahushua was on the cross, man, and he went through all that pain, all that affliction, and the humiliation to save the entire nation of Israel, beginning with the elect. And that goes to show you that he was humiliated before he was honored. And to prove that point, I'm just going to go into Revelation, the 5th chapter, and it states, "And one of the elders said unto me," now this is John the Revelator, "Weep not, behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, have prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof." Now it was Revelation 5 and 5. Verse 6. "And I beheld, and lo, in the midst of the throne and of the 4 beasts, And in the midst of the elders stood a lamb, as it had been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of the Most High, sent forth into all the earth. And he came and took the book out of the right hand of him that sat upon the throne. Verse 8, and when he had taken the book, the 4 beasts and 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, having every one of them harps and golden bowls full of odors, which are the prayers of saints. And they sung a new song, saying, Thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof. For thou wast slain and hast redeemed us to the Most High by the blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation, and has made us into our power kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. Okay?
Yahushua was taken down in a low moment. He was crucified. He was rejected by his own people, you know. And so by the act of him, girding up his loins like a man, he's uttered now in the spiritual world. So it's gonna be physically manifested when he come back again this second time. Hey, I got real quick just back here. Okay. Isaiah 53 and 3. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. And we hid as it were our faces from him. He was despised and we esteemed him not. Surely he hath borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. Yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of the Most High, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. So this going to each elect brother, man. We're just going to start out with the elect. Each elect brother are healed through the stripes that Yahushua had to go through on that cross, man. And it pretty much is going to trickle on down to the rest of the 12 tribes of Israel. But everything's going to begin with the elect. Those are first fruits of the Most High.
Got something for you? Philippians chapter 2, verse 5. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Yahushua, who being in the form of the Most High, thought it not robbery to be equal with the Most High, but made himself of no reputation, and took upon him the form of a servant, and was made in the likeness of men. And being found in fashion as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient unto death, even the death of the cross.
It was about his father's business, man. Basically, he wasn't glorifying himself, although he had spiritual power and things of that such, but at the same time frame, Yahushua knew that he had to glorify the Father, man, and then he would receive his glory. Because he hasn't received his glory as of yet on earth. It's just set up in the spiritual world. But we all know through the Spirit that first everything happens in the spiritual world, and then it trickles down on earth.
Yeah, those are the
This is Mark 13:13. It says, and you should be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that endure to the end, the same should be saved.
Yeah, you got to endure to the end, man. You have to endure those afflictions, the diseases, the persecutions, and the humiliation, man. In order to get to something, you have to go through something, man.
If we followers of Yahushua, we supposed to be his sheep. He said he know his sheep, right? So, okay, so we ambassadors of Yahushua. We representing him. So the things that he went through when he walked on this planet Earth, we gonna go through the same thing, man. Right. So we gotta have that in our mind frame. Yahushua, our Lord and Savior, went through it, so we gotta go through it too. He girded his loins up like a man. We gotta do the same thing.
Got something else?
Yeah, the book of Sirach, chapter 13, verse 20. It says, as the proud hate humility, so doth the rich abhor the poor. And I brought that up because it says the proud hate humility, so the proud hate to be humble, and they also hate people who come in that contrite spirit. Right? So that's another low point that you got to go through, because you got all these people who exalt their money over you, who exalt their degrees over you, who want to exalt their so-called Bible knowledge over you. You know, because they automatically rule you out instantly, without you even having to break the scripture down. They just base it upon you being insignificant. You know, so the proud abhor the poor. I mean, the proud abhor the humble, or those of a contrite spirit, those with humility. You know, and they add on to that humiliation because their whole scheme is to humiliate you and embarrass you, man.
This is real quick. Matthew 19:27. Then answered Peter and said unto him, Behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee. What shall we have therefore? And Yahushua said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that ye which shall follow me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, he also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And everyone that have forsaken houses, or brethren, or sisters, or father, or mother, or wife, or children, or lands, for my name's sake, shall receive 100-fold, and shall inherit everlasting life.
That's why Yahushua said, that the sufferings, well, really it was Paul speaking through the spirit of Yahushua. He said the suffering of this present time not worthy compared with the glory which should be revealed in us, man.
Right.
So, we'll go close out.